Broadwell airfield?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, when we were at Maisiehampton, the farmer then that I'd moved with, Basie Davis, he hadn't got a farm then, you see. So myself and Ben Hicks, that was another tractor driver who was still living at Kelmscott, the two of us, we were still employed by Basie Davis, and we did contract thrashing and contract groundwork on Bryce Norton, all Chedworth, all the aerodromes all the way around. We used to mow all the lawns, the runways, because they were all grass runways in those days, even Bryce Norton. And that was how I come to be on Battle Grove, because when Battle Grove started up in 43,
43, yeah.
43 or something like that, we were there, and we were there for, well, all the time, just getting the ground all ready and planting it all in grass seed, because in those days, first, some of them was cornfields, some of them was root fields and all that. And we had to drag and harrow all the ground, level it all down, while they were working on the runways and all this sort of thing. We were still doing it. And so we spent, well, I was up there till December 44, when I joined the army. So I was up there on D-Day actually, because
you saw the gliders go up, did you?
It was a quick thing, you know, and we were out there, we had all our grass seed and artificial manures and all that sort of stuff, and we used to store that in the house up there. And that house, we always called it Foddy's, you see. Mm. And so I
Is that the farm? Is that the farm that's between there and the Philkins Road?
Foddy's Farm, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It was a red bricked house, wasn't it, and farm. And so we always called it Foddy's Farm, you see. And so I had a word with Richard one day, because you had it as somebody else, didn't you?
Hey?
You had it as somebody else's farm.
Well, whatever they said, yeah.
Yeah, I forget whose it was now, but I'd never heard of that name. Anyway, I had a word with Richard one day, and I said, when we were up there, we used to call it that red brick house and farm Foddy's Farm. He said, yeah. He said, well, me and Jim, we lived up there as kids, you know, they were up there as children then. And so he said, yeah. He said, that was right. So that was one of the things, you know, that we called that Foddy's Farm. And then we were up there then, as I say, doing all the groundwork, and we were out there.
You mean the groundwork? You mean just the grass cutting? You know, you weren't doing the actually
planting the grass.
Yeah, you weren't doing the
everything down as grass.
Yeah.
And then mowing it, keeping it mown, and all this sort of thing, putting artificial on it, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And so we were doing all that. We had a tractor each, you know, and so we were doing that. So we were up there on D-Day, but there's a couple of things that you may not have heard about. One was, I mean, a lot of these pilots of the gliders, they went out D-Day, and half of them hadn't had but about, they were lucky if they had about 20-24 hours training. They used to come in, never having seen a glider, some of them, and they used to be training. So of course there was a lot of crashes up there. But the worst one was we went to work one morning. I used to cycle all the way from Maisiehampton to Battle Grove every day and every night. Old Ben used to go back to Kelmscott where he lived. And I came in one morning, and on the right hand side of the gate that came in down the Philkins end, because the runway run that way, see, from Chilton to Philkins.
Yeah.
They always seemed to go that way for taking off and landing. They never seemed to go that way. They always went this way. Yeah. But then when the gliders landed, they always came in over Chilton and dropped their tow ropes and all that sort of thing. And we used to be out on all this ground, you see, doing it. So that was the way I used to come in. See, I used to come in Philkins end on my bike. And we used to have our tractors parked at Foddy's Farm. Yeah. And I came in one morning, and just by the side, there's an entrance there. Did you know that?
Yeah.
There's a gateway there.
It's still there, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, just on the right-hand side of that, there's a stone quarry.
Oh, I don't know.
A little stone quarry. I didn't know it was a stone quarry until I was talking to Richard. And I came in one morning, and in this big hole there was a mosquito that crashed. He tried to land.
Yeah?
Yeah, he tried to land, he didn't make it. and he was smashed in here and killed them all. So, and I said to Richard about that, and he said, "Ah, well, that was a stone quarry." So I didn't use stone quarry.
Do you remember the crash?
It wasn't the old field. Yeah, he remembered it. Yeah. That wasn't the old Filkins stone quarry.
No.
You know, that is still now. That was further up here. But there was a stone
Oh,
quarry.
I've got to stop and have a look at that, see if it's still there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, it was when you went in there. And then we used to keep our tractors here, and that public road, that went straight across, but of course that was all closed off, you know. Down here was where the watchtower was, then Shilton End, and the NAFI and all the billets were down there as well. Well, and then another morning we came in, and a glider had smashed into the NAFI.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, and killed a lot of them. You'd never know, nobody ever, although I did mention it to Joan this morning, she knew about it. Yeah, she remembers it, yeah. Yeah, a glider cut short and smashed into the NAFI. And they was all in there one night. Yeah. I don't know how many was killed, but there was a lot of people.
Where did you see Joan this morning? You got her?
No, he rang her up. No, she rang me actually.
Oh, I see.
She wanted some flower plants.
Oh.
And I also got to go and pick her mower up to repair her mower. So yeah, that was another thing that, you know, was kept quiet. But on the day of D-Day, when we were having our dinner, me and old Ben, I mean, you didn't go into cafes or anything in them days like you do today. You sit out in the open and you had your couple of sandwiches and a bottle of tea, and that was it. And we always used to park over here in Franca's Fields.
Oh yeah.
There was a fields here, you know. We were parked there one day, and
that's on the side of that road that goes in now from Kenkett, is it?
That's right, sort of from on the left hand side,
yeah.
and then you know there's an old where they tip all the gravel and that, then they
the sewage
all
sludge
over
and
there.
that,
That's it, yeah. And we used to park there, and we'd parked our two tractors one day. Old Ben's was there, and mine was here, and there was only about 4 or 5 foot between the two of them. And we were sit down. He would sit down in front of his, and I would sit down in front of mine with our backs to the radiator, eating our dinner. And one of the old Dakotas come across to drop their great big tow ropes, and they had these great big shackles on the end of them, terrific things. And he come in a bit low, without a word of a lie. If old Ben was here today, he'd be able to tell you, but unfortunately he's died. And the tow rope, he come in too low, and they used to hit the ground and snatch. And he hit the ground between our two tractors.
Well, at the end of the tow rope did?
Yeah. Hit the ground, never even hit the tractors, and there wasn't much more than the width of this between the two tractors. And there was a great big hole between the two tractors. Yeah, that was one lucky escape we had. We used to get a lot of near escapes because we used to be out on the, here cutting the grass or planting grass seed or something like that. When all of a sudden all these gliders had come in. And a lot of them, of course, were all training, you know, because it was used a lot for training.
They landed all over the place.
Landed all over the place, all over. There suddenly one was coming up one side of it, one another, and you couldn't go anywhere. All you had was, I expect you'd probably see them, was a broom handle with a yellow disc on the top. That's all you had. Now these blokes had never flown a glider before. So we had a lot of near goes, but it was, you know,
you got the health and safety on you nowadays, wouldn't they?
No health and safety at all, you know, it was interesting. But yeah, that was one of the bad ones, when that one hit the NAFI that night. And that was the old watchtower, that's down Shilton End.
Yeah, I remember,
think
Joan
Joan
told
told
you
you
that
was, that's
control
it, yeah.
tower.
That's right, yeah. And
Joan was telling me they used to ride their bikes around there.
that's right, yeah, that's it, the old officers, yeah, she was telling me this morning, when she used to know an Australian officer there or something, and he used to have a motorbike, a cotton motorbike I think it was. He used to take her down to Langford to the Crown, and she used to play the piano down there. But,
she had a bit of a time, didn't she?
Yeah, I think she did. Yeah, she did. She was younger then, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And then, of course, a bit later, after D-Day, I mean, when they all took off, were taken off for D-Day, we were stood over here somewhere in the old band, because we came off, you know, and because it was getting so busy. And we came off, and that is where we were when Do you remember that one in your story where it was going up the runway?
Yeah.
And he went over the top of the deck.
Yeah.
He went over the top of the
You saw that, did you?
This is where he come out here, is it?
Yeah, the bloke who was flying that Harrier lives down in Minehead. I went down and talked to him.
Yeah, that's
He's
it.
still alive.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful boy, you tell me some
then,
stories.
after D-Day, of course there's so many wounded coming back, all the American wounded were all coming back on dead wounds as well. And so all this up here was all turned into, I mean the planes used to go up there. I forget who it was, they used to have a runway round here, a road round here, because Battle Grove Hospital was there, as you know, and they were all taken to Battle Grove Hospital. So that's why they had there was a lot of buildings, used to be a lot of buildings.
There was, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And I always remember after I'd come back to Kencut, I came back and was demobbed. After I came out of hospital, I came up and lodged with somebody up in Carton here. But after the sort of war, all the cables, because when you think of all the lighting and all that sort of thing, then the end of the runways was these manholes, and this was all great big copper cables, and all the old scrap merchants were coming down from London and all over the place, and they were, because Berkey was a policeman in there. Do you remember Berkey? He had a hell of a job with all these. I mean, he couldn't do it much because he was on a bike anyway, but all this was all robbed of all that. Yeah, thousands and thousands of pounds worth, Dave. Yeah, thousands of pounds worth. Yeah, they got these manhole covers off and took all the cables out.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Whether there's any left there or not, I don't know. Yeah, if you go up to that entrance from Pilkins, if you look on the right hand side, there's a big hole there. Whether it's still there or not, I don't know. Yeah, but that was a mosquito.
Yeah, I'll go around and take some photographs to put with what you said.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But I had about 2 years up there, 18 months, 2 years. And then of course I say, I wanted to go in the army, so on December the 4th I went off and left old Ben up there. And poor old Ben's died now.
Yeah. What was his name, Ben what? What was his name, Ben what?
Ben Hicks.
Hicks,
yeah. H-I-C-K-S. And old Ben, yeah. Good dart player, old Ben was, yeah. That's it, well, that's all I can tell you about Battle Grove, Dave, was I spent nearly 2 years up there, and I was there right from the start, really, from when it was all mud. But, I mean, it was a good runway up there. If you remember, for a long time afterwards, they, a long time afterwards, well, they still do. Chaps used to go up there with model aircraft and that.
Yeah, they do still up there.
Do they still go up there?
Yeah, there was the Civil Defence had a place up there as well, didn't they?
That's right, that's it, they did, yes.
Bob Clapp took me down there and have a look at that.
And there used to be a place up there, whether that's still there, that made compost.
Yeah, that's gone. Yeah.
Isn't it? That's all finished. Yeah.
Well, they were making grass, weren't they, on the runway? They were laid wire, put wire netting down. And, they were making compost
they
there
made
one
compost
time as well.
That's right. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
That's all gone now.
It was quite good compost actually.
Yeah, that's all gone now.
Yeah, that's all gone, is it? Yeah.
I went up there and tried to do some of that, but they weren't very successful.
A lot of those glider pilots, I mean, they're marvellous because they come there and half of them they just didn't had any training of any sort, you know. They were took up and that was it, and you know, some other thing would take over and that was it. And a lot of them went abroad like that. Yeah, I think there was some wild going on, wasn't there, around the pubs and that with them lot, yeah. Yeah. Well, Shilton did very well out of them, didn't they? You know, Crown did quite well, I suppose. You know.
Where?
The Crown at Langford.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they used to go down there quite a bit. But it was an interesting place to work. As I say, we had a few near goes there, but we got away with it. And I